Alright guys, so welcome back to Oshkosh International Airshow Museum. So you guys already know about Oshkosh International Museum. It's the most busiest airport ever. And the reason why today is I also do lots of research about Oshkosh International Airshow, and I see lots of pilots have gone there since it's the most famous one, and it has been going viral on YouTube and on other air show all over around the world. And there's also lots of Russian jets and American fighter jets here because there's actually a historically aviation museum next to the air show, which is on the runway. And right here is just a cargo plane. In the back, you can see a 100-year-old Ford Tribe motor, which is the most oldest plane back in 1920. And the cargo plane you're seeing right here is actually the DHC-2, which is actually a FedEx cargo planes. And well, a lot of planes came to this air show because, well, a lot of which were things that they are very rare. For example, like this plane with a backward engines right here, as you can see, it is actually a futuristic model idea of an airplane. And these planes you see right here is actually just a small passenger plane, which is only gonna take the passenger to Oshkosh Airport because it's, well, a lots of passengers, they're gonna stay in a hotel near the airports since this place is the most busiest and the most biggest and famous air show ever. This plane has about 1,000 billion aircraft come here each day just to perform every single maneuver and to transport every tourist to the airport to see a massive air show at night. And yes, these airplanes are actually very rare, and yes, they're very good. And these are just Cessna planes, but there is also more planes here since, well, you know, these are just historically planes, and well, because since it's a museum of aviation, so yeah, it does have historical planes here, especially other old, retired, scrap having planes. This is also still here. And not only that, a lot of planes still flying to this airport to this day, and especially, for example, like FedEx, the feeder FedEx, which is also known as the DHC-2, which is the most special planes, and it's actually rare. The reason why so many planes came to this airport is because, to the point that, well, a lot of planes has been retired in the year 2023, and they want their last trip to Oshkosh is by, well, you know, perform their maneuver for the other aviator. They're all over around the world. And yes, there's also Russian jets here. And the reason why there are also Russian jets and other airplanes around the country is because, well, you see, back in the year 1990 when the air show was created, well, a lot of fighter jets around the world have started to participating in this event because they think that it will be very special to see their own creation to be in display of the air show. And here you can see is a T6 Texan and a two propeller turboprop engine Piper plane. And yes, these planes do very historically, especially with the T6 Texan right here. And the plane you're seeing right here is the Piper car, which is the most special planes ever because it can land on short amounts of runway. And since this plane can land everywhere where it can land. And this is still a futuristic looking model idea of an aircraft. Well, it's just the backward engine and another to this airport some airplanes are just, well, oh, not retired, but you guys always asking, if these planes are not retired, then why are they in this air show? Because, well, you see here is after the U.S. Air Force and the U.S. government built this air show, they decided to put all of the amount of airplane that they have to this airport. Since at that time, during the year 1990 to the year 2000, well, this airport is kind of started production back in the year 1980, and now it still produces more aircraft in the year 2023, which is the present day. And not only that, the reason why they built this airport is not only because of the museum or the air show. They want to put all of their abandoned aircraft there, and because the reason is that the U.S. aviation technology, it is so big and it's so viral to the point that they also put a Russian jet here, the MiG-29 Fulcrum, which is also still used for the Russian and Ukrainian Air Force and all around the world. And this jet is also very famous because of its historically two engines and the original design of this jet here. Yeah, and another jet, which is the L-39, which is a Soviet Union trainer jet. And yes, this plane is actually very important for the Russian Air Force, for other training pilots. And the plane you see here is a historically looking Cessna 172, and this plane is only used for, well, World War II pilots training exercise. And yes, these planes do have other, wait, this is only, and yes, these planes are actually rare, and some planes are not actually rare if you have seen them in your lifetime before, because for the reason is that the large amounts of planes in USA are actually 100%, because due to the points that the US aviation technologies like Boeing and Airbus, Embraer, and other regional and long-range airliner company also put all of their airplanes in this air show. For the reason is that they want to display as it in the museum is before its retirement, like the MiG-29 right here with the other new typical fighter jets here. But not only that, there is also a large cargo planes that is also displayed in this air show. And yes, there is also a lot of passenger plane, but there is only one typical cargo plane here, which is the Dreamlifter Boeing 747, the only 747 in this air show, and the Boeing 737 MAX 800. And the reason why is that these jets, they also wanted to perform a great maneuver all over around the world, especially for aviators who love to see air show for the first time in their childhood. And yes, I do see this air show a lot when I was younger. And not only that, I also have seen a video of a YouTuber which actually do a vlog to Oshkosh Air Show, which is kind of an interesting. But still, this air show is have a large amount of plane, which is the reason why some little Piper Cup plane and small passenger planes is also still flying to this day to this Oshkosh Air Show. Because for the reason is that they wanted to transport other passengers to the area, since it's the most busiest airports around the world. There are about 1,000 billion aircraft come here each day. And what about fighter jets? Well, they just display here. They just don't go anywhere. So there's only just Cessna 172, Cessna 182, and much more than that. So that's just only small planes. So yeah, that's kind of boring. But I'm gonna show you the next video. Then. So right here, which is also show a. Wait, hold on. This is a ad. So I'm just gonna hold this right here. So, yes. So here you can see there's a lot of pilots also bring their own pets to the airport because they think that it's important just to show their pets their own airplane which they have and the plane you're seeing here is the most interesting. This is the C5 Galaxy, the most best as US Air Force cargo plane ever. This plane can actually transport lots of tanks and a lot of armored vehicles from the U.S. Air Force to other countries. Because, well, this plane is also a long-range jet, which it can actually fly through the Atlantic Ocean because it has 4 engines right here on the right and the left wing. And it's also have a tilted landing gear, as you can see here. And it's also very retractable during landing and takeoff from a short runway. And yes, there's also a U.S. Air Force here in this air show. And yes, these planes are the most special. And the reason why I think that these planes are so special because, well, have you ever seen these planes that have this kind of design here, an engine on the fuselage, which is kind of dangerous, but still interesting because the reason why is because of the design of these aircraft. Since, well, a lot of rare planes came to this airport to this day is because, as well, they think that it's interesting to, well, buy other planes to this airport from around the country else. Especially the communism, like Russia, or Ukraine, or other country else. And there's also a Sukhoi fighter jet here, which is also the Su-30 and the Su-33. This right here is the MiG-23, which is actually only a multi-role fighter jet and a attacker for the Russian Air Force. And yes, it has a wing of the F-14 Tomcat. And this jet is only have 1 engine, so yes, it's actually a small jet, which is only need a short amount of runway. So yeah, it don't need that much of a runway if you ask me. And the reason why I think that these planes is so special to the points that, well, you can see these 2 fuel tanks on the wing right here. And right here, well, the reason why it's actually kind of special is because that, well, look at the landing gear. The first is only retract, but the other half of the landing gear is only retract at the moment, just 1 second before the first landing gear retracted. So yes, these air show is actually kind of special airports, and a lot of aviator and plane lovers actually came to this place. Not very enough. Well, there's only a large amount of plane which you can see right here. There's only not enough rare for sure, since other jets right here are actually also a typical communist jet, which is also a multi-role fighter right here. And the reason why these jets are bought by the U.S. Air Force is, well, it seems that it is actually the best idea to have another air power for the Air Force. So they decided to buy Russian jets like the MiG-29 Fulcrum right here. This because they think that it's special for their Air Force so they can get stronger in air defense system. And yes, it's actually real. So, well, it's actually just some normal typical flights, but there's still lots of more. So there's also a lot of bombers and planes here, and there's also a historically passenger plane, which I'm gonna show right now. So here is another Oshkosh highlights this air show, which you can see right here is the a old version of the Boeing first passenger airplane. And yes, this plane was built in the late 1930s. Because since this plane is, as you can see, it have 4 engines, in the United States Air Force here. This plane was built to be as the presidential private plane, since this plane was actually used for the U.S. Air Force, and it's very, very important back in World War II. And not only that, there's also fighter jets like the F-35, Lightning here, the best 5th generation fighter jet ever. And yes, this is also a fast jet, but it's not fast enough, only to Mach 1. And yes, there's also a lot of modern fighter jets here, like the MiG-29, the MiG-15, the F-22 Raptor, the A-10 Thunderbolt, and other fighter jets. Well, this is just historically planes, as you can see here, the MiG-15 and the MiG-29. These jets are flying in information because, since this is a air festival, so yes, there's also lots of fighter jets here, and this air show is very, very famous as the amount of aircraft that it has. And yes, as you can see, we finally get to see the F-22 Raptor. Yes, the best U.S. Air Force fighter jets ever that have a stealth technology, which is the most best aircraft. And as you can see, this is the KC-12 tanker, which is a Boeing 707 military U.S. Air Force One. And the plane under here is the Boeing C-17, which is actually used during the Afghanistan war, which is still going on to this day, only to evacuate Afghanistan citizens from a war that had on. And yes, these two planes are actually a electrical warfare because, this plane could also use as an AWACS, and the C-17 could also use as a control tower planes. And not only that, the best part is, at this air show, there's also a lot of racing planes here, especially this ones. Yes, the fast racing planes that, as you can see, this is actually the plane from the Red Bull competition. And not only that, the best part is this racing plane is not only important for your information, but there is also bomber. Yes, the big spot of a fire right here is actually the mark of the engine, and another bomber has came to its destination to drop more bombs. And as you can see, there more fire happened back there. This is an air show, right? And yes, there's also a lot of MiG-29 and Russian fighter jets back there. And you can see these two engines right here are actually used as an afterburner on the jet. And the reason why it has smoke is because, actually, it's the Russian Air Force, or typical engineer. And this plane is a skydiving what should I say? At this air show, there's a lot of rare historically planes. So yes, this is actually a very, very special air show. I also wanted to go there back when I was a kid, but then, this kind of a lot of money because, you have to spend about a lot of $1 million if you want to go to on these planes. And not only that, it is very expensive. Yes, these planes you see right here, like this one, if you want to get on this one right here, you're gonna have to spend a lot of money. And not only that, there's not only planes, there's also skydiving competition that take place in Oshkosh International Air Show. And yes, lots of skydivers has came there to improve their skills for any other pilots. Wait, hold on. This is just an axe. Let me just gonna skip it a little bit quick. Yes, there it is. And there is also a lot of shorts, looking small and weird design planes, which is also counts as the special planes. The reason why so many airplanes was boarded on this Oshkosh International Air Show is because that, well, they think that since the U.S. Air Force, they wanted to share their new fighter jets, so they decided to give the other aviator a little bit of a quick information about this airport, so they can, well, will give another great planes to this air show. And yes, the jet you see here is the jet that was used in the movie Top Gun Maverick, the F-18 Super Hornet, VFA 122. And yes, this is actually a U.S. Air Force and the U.S. Navy base fighter plane. This plane was flying, well, by Tom Cruise back in Top Gun Maverick 2022. This is my favorite aviation movie that I have watched in the cinema. And the reason why that even this jet still in the air show, but it's, well, isn't that supposed to be in the Air Force or on the Navy carrier? Well, it's because that a lot of planes, oh, what can I say? A lot of the U.S. Air Force fighter jets came to here because they wanted to share their successful maneuver and how safety these planes are. Despite that, there's actually 2 airplane crash here. Yes, there's actually a plane crash in this air show, but there are no more, since this air show is the most favorite and the most famous air show ever, because, well, as you can see here, you can also board these planes for free, because, well, these planes are like historically aircraft, like this one, the AWACS with the 4 engines right here, is actually used for the U.S. Air Force back in 1994 and still operating to this day. And the plane you're seeing right here, yes, the C-5 Galaxy, the biggest cargo plane ever that can actually be operated in this air show. And not only that, there's also World War II fighter planes. There's the P-51, the F-6F, which is the most fresh plane. So you guys already know about these ones. So these planes are actually, they came here because they thought that they were determined, but now they are wanting to share their experienced pilot skills to any other pilot. So yes, that's the reason why I give my opinion to this air show is the best air show ever. Because, well, I also wanted to go there back when I was a kid, and so now it's so fun to see that the air show has become more famous and more viral on the internet for any other aviator. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.